Hey y'all, it's Leah. I just want to share a little video to show you some examples for the patchwork journal card swap that we just posted today. So there are a couple of parameters for this one. You need to have a minimum size of 3.5 by 3.5 square. But it doesn't have to be square. So you notice like this one I did as a rectangle, that's totally fine. But 3.5 inches is kind of your minimum size that you want to do. They need to be flat on the front and then have blank space on the back for journaling. I do like to just ink my edges a little bit just to kind of, so it doesn't look so plain on the back, but you want your fronts to be pretty flat so that you can write on them and not have all the raised edges and stuff. Other than that, it is kind of free range as far as what you want to do and how you want to embellish your cards. I went with kind of just your standard square block. Sorry. So my mom's a quilter, and I know that there are tons of other quilt blocks, but I was trying to put this video together quickly this afternoon, and so I just went with the standard square block. So I'm going to tell you my dimensions for these just to give you some options, but you are welcome if you want to make log cabin blocks or I'm trying to think, I know there's all kinds of names for those things. So if you're a quilter and you know different block types, you are welcome to do that. I will probably play around with it a little bit more before I actually do the swap. And so we will see what I come up with that. So I'm going to start with this one to show you. This is probably the one that I put more detail into the actual block making. So as I was working on this, I happened to get a package with some fabric samples, some swatches from a fabric or a furniture company. And so I fell in love. This is like chenille. And so I had 4 different colors of the same type of fabric of this chenille. And so it's all the same depth, because I had some velvets, but those had a taller pile on them. And so I went with this one so that way it still has a flat surface. And so I just cut these. My background was 5 by 3 3/4, and that allowed me to make 1 1/4 inch squares. And so I just did that. And then this one, I actually ran it through the machine, through the sewing machine, and I did a zigzag stitch. Might be a little difficult to see because I used kind of a champagne colored thread because I didn't really want it to show up, but I just wanted to kind of hold it together. But I just ran it down all of the different seams on there. But you notice you don't see my stitching on the back. I put another thicker layer of cardstock on the back, so that way it does give a really nice smooth writing surface. And then the front I just decorated with a little bit of dyed cheesecloth, and I thought the colors went with kind of like this beachy theme, and I thought the cheesecloth kind of looked like something, like netting that you'd find at the beach. And then I like that little saying, the collect beautiful moments, because we collect seashells. And yeah, that's kind of where my mind was going with that one. So that's that one. So that's showing you that you can stitch. Now the stitching is not required, but I was like, well, if I'm making a patchwork square, like I said, my mom's a quilter, so my mind immediately goes to sewing around and doing that. So I sewed all 3 of them, but I'm going to show you the 3 different ways that I did it. So this one is on the sewing machine. I'm going to jump over to this one. So these 2 I did 4 by 4 squares. I did round the corners, and you can do that. You're welcome to have rounded edges or straight edges, but you just don't want to put any kind of tabs, or because it's not a tag or anything. So no tabs, no brads or anything that's in there. Eyelets or any of that kind of stuff. So we're not hanging anything. We want it to just be a flat card. So this one I went with 1 inch squares, and I actually stamped my stitches. So I happen to have the stamp set from Stampin' Up! That has all kinds of different little stitches. And so I used this one that I think is a blanket stitch. Again, I am not a sewer. I'm just learning. And so I did that just kind of roughly on the edges, and then added a couple of little embellishments on that. This one I didn't back. That is what I glued my squares onto. Like I said, I did just kind of ink around the edges just to give it more of a finished look. So that's that one. And then this one is if you don't have stamps and you don't want to deal with a sewing machine, this one I handed my stitching, so I just drew it on there. This one again is a 4x4 square, and I wanted to just do something quick, so I did 2-inch squares, so I only needed 4 of them. Did coordinating patterns or pattern with a coordinating cardstock, and then I just took a black pen and did my little crisscross stitches on there, and then I used a rub-on here. I found these really cute rub-ons the other day at Dollar Tree, and I fell in love with them. It's got all kinds of like little wishies on there, and I thought that kind of went well with kind of the flow. It's kind of like a windy fabric. And then I decided, okay, I'm gonna go with the gold speckles, and wishies have everything. Dandelions, I call them wishies. They blow everywhere, and so I took just some metallic watercolor and flicked that on there, and then I just did around the edge just to kind of finish that off a little bit. So, and then I like that quote, it's the little things that make life big, because blowing dandelions is just kind of a thing I remember doing as a kid, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. So anyway, those are just 3 really quick ones that I put together. I can't wait to see what you come up with for your swap. So hopefully you get signed up, and we will see what you create. All right, see y'all later. Bye.